We're going to do a video on an interesting thing you can do with our VLink software that provides a means of accessing a group of controllers if we have a wired or through the internet connection to this software running on a PC, the VLink software. It also, the feature we're going to look at is pulling in information from SD card files. So the actual memory card on the Ventra Pros or Ventra XTs, those files on there can be loaded right into VLink. They can be modified and then they can be saved back out as a file that can go on to our controller. So we're just going to run through that. First thing that we'll need to do is have a database for this information to go into. I've got the SD card into my laptop and I've got VLink open, but we need to go to File, then to New, and from there we can actually choose to create a new database. In this case, I'm just going to name it SD card test, and then it will go ahead and create that for us. And then we'll open that up. The database name we had to input, and then now we have that open, but it wouldn't actually have to be open right now because when we import the SD card file, we'll have to choose a database. But now we've got one to put it in. And when it opens this up, it does include kind of a default enterprise access point and controller. This is just a placeholder for you to add information if you wanted to. We can delete this one out after we, this whole enterprise, once we add our SD card. So to import an SD card, it's File, then Import SD card. In here, it'll pop up a window that shows the SD card importer, and we can choose a particular drive. If we've got it on our hard drive, the C, or if we have a D drive or whatever, we could do that. Or it'll pop up, in this case, mine's an H, it could be an E or whatever, where I've got my SD card, and it will default to looking at the params folder and give us the option of the sets to import. So first thing is to select the database. So we're going to go ahead and select the one we just created, the SD card test database, for this to go into. I'm going to go ahead and check set 1, set 2, set 3, and set 4, and bring those all in this group. So did the checkbox, and then import sets into database is what we'll do next. And once it does that, you have to hit close, and then it will pop up and it basically, in our tree, it's added a new enterprise. We have the SD card set 1 with 2 zones because it has the brooders in this case. On zone 2, it's not present in the set 2, set 3, or set 4, just have zone 1 devices. So once we're in here, let's say, for instance, the change that we want to make is that we see that in our zone devices, I just click the expand the tree. For zone 2, maybe the heater has been set incorrectly. In this case, on temp is at 81, that should be at 82. I can change that to 82, hit save, and that saves it in our working where we're at. But up here at SD card, if I enter, in this case there is a password on this one, so there's some security, and if I add a password, oops, here we go, that's acceptable, it'll pop it up, and now there's a export SD card option available on the SD card level of the tree. So to export this, I'm just going to put it right back. I have to click on the H drive in this case, or whatever the root drive of your SD card, the drive letter, and then we can export. In this case, just set one. We could change that. So when I choose to do that, it tells me there's already something in set one. Do you want to have this added? So we'll say yes. And once we do, it just says finished exporting and we can hit close. So that's all there's to it, to actually exporting to a file. Now what's on my SD card, if I take it to my Ventra Pro or XT, I can start it up, catch it at the press enter to copy, and choose to no to copy, and then set one if that's the set we're using, if we've got wean pigs in this case, and then those settings will be corrected because I looked through it and changed the settings. Okay, and we just want to remember that using VLink for this purpose, the files have to come from a controller. If it's one of the green screen Ventra Pros, it has to be a version 2, not a version 1. From a Ventra Plus, we can't do this because it doesn't have an SD card. And then any of the white, blue screen Ventra Pros and any of the XTs the files from the SD card will go right in. So there's possibility that you may have to update one of those green screen Ventra Pros to a newer software. If you need a file for doing so, you can contact tech support at Valco. Thanks.